Hi, this is Carma Spence of carmascookery.com, and in today's video I'm going to kind of walk you through kind of the way my mind works when it comes to being creative in the kitchen. You see, Christmas is coming up in a few days and I knew I wanted something that had pumpkin in it. But I didn't really feel like pumpkin pie, so basically I'm going through the aisles and I pick up my can of pumpkin and I pick up my can of evaporated milk and I'm wondering, what am I going to make? And then I saw this. It is a mix of gingerbread. And I love gingerbread. In fact, there's a story about that which I can point you to in a link below. And I thought, ooh, this might be nice. Ginger pumpkin bread. So I'm going to walk you through my little experiment in making ginger pumpkin bread by using this mix and this can. And we'll see how it turns out, okay? Okay, I want to apologize to you. My intention was to go through what the process was, and I did it. And I was explaining away, and then the video turned off. Apparently I forgot to hit record. So I'm just going to sum it up for you. This particular recipe called for about half a cup of water. When you're adding in the pumpkin, which I did, that's going to add moisture to the recipe. So I'm not going to use all the water that the recipe called for. So what I did is I followed the instructions until it said add the water. What it called for was 1 egg and 1 egg white. Whisk that. So I whisked that away. Then you were supposed to put in some melted butter and the water. So what I did was I put in the melted butter and the pumpkin. Mixed that, and then I could tell there really wasn't enough moisture, so I added, probably about 1/3 of the amount of water I'd put aside. I'd put aside half a cup of water because it called for half a cup and 1 tablespoon. Then I added in the mix. As I was mixing the mix, I noticed the mix was a little too dry. So I added just enough water to get this consistency. This is a good consistency for a sweetbread. Now I'm using the recipe called for a loaf pan, but I'm using a Bundt pan because I just really like Bundt pans. In fact, my first cookbook was about Bundt cakes, so this is just my thing. Now this Bundt pan's probably a little bit big for the amount of batter I have here, but that's okay. It should cook just fine. So now at this point, I've poured the batter into the Bundt pan and I'm about to put it in the oven. This particular recipe calls for 350 degrees and it's supposed to cook for 40 to 50 minutes. I'll be checking it because the moisture is different than what was called for in the recipe. I'm going to have to watch it and make sure that it actually cooks all the way through. Okay, there were a couple of things I just forgot to mention in that last little bit. One is that the Bundt pan needs to be prepared. That basically means take some nonstick spray, spray it in there so it doesn't stick. And the other thing is, basically, I'm following the instructions on the box, except where I'm modifying it. So, for example, since I'm modifying it by adding pumpkin, which means I'm adding moisture, I need to reduce the amount of moisture that the ingredients, the instructions asked for. That's kind of like what you do when you're playing with these mixes and changing recipes up. When you're substituting things, you always need to keep in mind the balance of moisture, especially with cakes, because that really affects the baking time. Well, guys, it looks like I put just the right of moisture in because this cooked in only 40 minutes. Why is that important? Well, for one, the cooking time was 40 to 50 minutes, and my oven usually takes just a little bit longer to cook. And if I had put too much moisture in, it would have taken longer to cook. So apparently I did it just right, and now I'm going to let it cool a little bit, turn it over onto a plate, and taste it. Okay, here we go. Turning it over onto the plate. Sounds like it did just right. So, there we go. Isn't that lovely? Even better, guys, I wish I could be offering you smell aroma because It smells so good. Here's where the proof is in the pudding. This is what it looks like. Whoops. This is what it looks like. Texture-wise, it's about the right texture, and yum. You can really taste the ginger. I can't really taste the pumpkin. And frankly, I think it's because this is a very potent ginger cake. That's why I can't taste the pumpkin. But I'm still going to get the benefits of the pumpkin because the pumpkin adds a little bit of fiber, adds a little bit of vitamin A, and it makes it a heavier cake. So we'll just say it's better for you. This is Carma Spence of Carma's Cookery. I hope you'll have fun being creative in the kitchen. The Bundt pan needs to be prepared, which basically means spray on some